I grew up wanting to build something that mattered. I dreamt big, got let down, tried again. And in 2021, I won. $2,500 turned into $1.5 million on a single bet. When money hits like that fast, life becomes a blur. And no one tells you it leaves the same way it comes. In a blink of an eye, it was gone. My future, my present, my past, all in one moment. The one chance I had to set up generations after me, gone. But that was 5 years ago. The goal hasn't changed, but I have. And these vlogs started as a way to keep me alive, but now they're proof I'm still becoming someone worth watching. Welcome back to the archives of a Shiba Millionaire. Hello guys, what's going on? It is... Okay, it is December 16th. I don't know if you can see it. It is December 16th, Monday, 7:10. And we're doing good, bro. We're doing pretty good. I'm gonna show this as like a way to like also prove Bitcoin is now at 106,000. Holy moly, right? You guys are probably wondering, oh snap, you've taken a lot of days in between doing videos. Yeah, that's my bad. I didn't mean to. I've been wanting to make a video even after like my birthday. I don't know if I made any other videos for this month, but I've been wanting to, I promise. So essentially the newest updates, actually let me just, I'm gonna go here really quick and show everything. So if we go to coin market cap really quick, we'll show this. So if we look at Bitcoin, it's up pretty decently and it looks like it's going to stay up. And then if we go to Ethereum's looking good. And if we look at Solana is down a little bit, but looks like it might pop back up. So essentially crypto is looking pretty up and down right now, depending on where everything's headed. Oh, that's a lot better. I thought it was maxed out, but apparently not. So essentially, yeah, everything's kind of being very interesting on this front. I did want to show you guys as well the wallet right now. The wallet. Do 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 do. I'll show you guys the wallet right now. So the current wallet is doing okay. I did a couple of plays this weekend, which have actually been really good. So I'll show a little bit of that. So if we look at our main account right now is 526. Then if we look at account 4, it's 131. So it's roughly about like 680 bucks. And then we look at this one, now we're at like 880 bucks or so. And we look at this one, now we're at like 1,200. And I started with 600 this weekend. And I was able to go ahead and just go into a play that I really believed in. And yeah. And I remember I get 200 every single week for render. So it's kind of, you kind of have to think about like how much I get each week as well and kind of factor that in. So technically I only made like a 2x, but at the very height of everything I was at like $2,000 or so for the trade that I did, and I got away with 1,100 and waiting to get back in. So I mean, I'm doing slow stuff with the trading stuff, but I want to show that stuff as like transparency wise, being like, oh, where did he get this and this and this from? I want to try to be as transparent as possible so that way it makes more sense in the future when you guys start seeing like more things happening, you're like, oh, he just jumped from like 500 to like 5,000 or 50,000 or whatever. So I want to, yeah, I just want to show a little bit more of that. On the other side of things, I mean, this is again just to show date proof and all that stuff like that. The main thing you'll notice, I got my hair did. What are we thinking? I don't know if the camera's gonna really be able to pick it all up, but I got braids going on right now to kind of preserve my hair. So I'm getting, you know, it's weird when you see yourself in like a different light or whatever. You have to like take a day or whatever to get used to it because I'm like, I don't really like this. But then after like a couple days, you're like, oh, okay, I just had to really get used to it. So, just to preserve my hair, and then later I can do my twist again. I'm gonna keep it like this for probably a couple months and just see what happens. I still need like some sprays and stuff, so I got that ordered, and that's looking good. Now to the meat of everything. Christmas is coming up. I just spent the holidays with my grandma and my grandpa. That was great because my grandma just came back from having um, good news, you know, about not having cancer at all, because she had a cancer scare for about a whole year. They basically cut off the whatever was messing her up. So like the bad part, it was for breast cancer, and essentially just, you know, reevaluating, and making sure that everything's good from there on. So she still has checkups, but now they're getting further and further apart, which is really good. So I'm very happy about that. It was very nice to see my grandparents again, just because, you know, it's been about a year and since my uncle passed away and everything like that. You know, kind of recoup, you know, like re-understanding like how everything was or like has been since that point has been interesting to just see, and you know, just see what's changed if anything. And thankfully my grandparents they don't change too much. They're always really cool people even in the hardest times, and so it's kind of cool to have people who are more constant or whatnot even in dark situations. So they're both very very strong. So that's kind of why I'm strong as well, mentally, and emotionally, and all that good stuff. So, no, that's been very cool to see. And then the other thing is work. What's been going on with that? So, as of what, a week and a half ago, I think I told you guys. I don't know because I don't remember. Especially during these times, so I might be recapping just a lot of stuff a lot of times. But short story short is I am now working for a gutter company, which is kind of interesting because I don't know all the products and all the knowledge and stuff like that technically of everything right now, and they're kind of like throwing me in, not throwing me in like a bad way, but just like, you know, you gotta, when you're in sales, you kind of have to like learn for a little bit. You learn for like a week or two, something like that, or sometimes even longer than that. And then, you know, a lot of times they throw you and say, "Hey, see what you can do." You know what I mean? So, this is gonna be my first ever real week. I got one day prior to going to San Diego, and then now I'm getting another week, full, well, not a full week because it's like 4 days or whatever, because I'm coming back on a Monday, or I'm coming back on a Tuesday, so starting work tomorrow. But it's been interesting, and some points that I want to go over just based off of everything that I've seen so far in my workplace and stuff like that is that it just feels better. And when I say feels better, like it just is a better experience overall from what I've seen, just because again, your mental is better. I'm on salary. That means that I'm not having to work, you know, I'm not contracted to work a full 8 hours. There are times where you're going to be working more than 8 hours, but honestly, I don't mind because it goes by so quick. So that's been cool. And then yeah, it's just a nice change of pace. So I'm very interested to see how everything kind of goes from here on out. Whether this was a mistake or whether it was something good, I won't know until later on. So I'm just hoping that for the better, this was a good change and it's something that I can adapt to, and I'm gonna try to adapt to it. But if I can't, then we'll try to figure out what happens then. But more than likely, I'm gonna be able to adapt to it, and try to get the skills I need under my belt. Try to get everything said and done so that way I can actually succeed at this job, because if I succeed at this job, I'll be making way more money than I was at my previous job, and with that money I can go ahead and start actually doing what I need to do to be not only creative but productive, which I haven't been able to do in the last 2 years. If you've watched the series and stuff, there's projects and stuff like that that I've had on the back burner for ages. Things that I've had to scrap, Voyagers, stuff like that. That I've had to like. I can't do anything right now. Like I have my manga project, I have this, but I want to do a lot more, but I can't because I'm limited at the moment. So it'd be nice to go ahead and open that door open, and I don't want to open that door unless I have the funds to do so. And so that is the point I want to try to get to. And I've been clawing at the door, but I really do want to go through that door. And then once I do, I think things are going to get just better and better and better and better. As far as like my sister's podcast, I have no clue when she's planning to do that, so I don't know. So we're still working on that. That's been just super, super slow. I'm gonna let her take her time with all that stuff. And then with trying to think what else. Um, with MovieBot, that's also been a slower process, really, just because I've been doing A, B, Z and stuff. I am hopefully right after this video going to do a couple MovieBot videos so that I can at least get things going. And so I don't have to tie up any issues in my head, like with trying to, oh, I gotta make sure to do this later on and keep pushing it back. I just need to do it today, then be good. And then other than that, everything else has been pretty chill. Like I said, it's just been a different experience, and as long as my mental is really good, I'll be very, very happy. That's really all I really care about now. Also, having some money and stuff like that. But I really do want my to be a lot better and less exhausted than I used to be. So, as long as those two things can happen, I'll be very happy. So, I don't know if there's too much to really say on this one besides, I really appreciate everyone this year. I've set a lot of goals for next year. Um, if I probably should say it here so that way it makes more sense, but a couple of those goals are to make a manga off of Vendetta, so V for Vendetta, and that pairs with Voyagers Unknown. So I do want to kind of blend the two realities together and try to make a story that is true to V and true to Voyagers, or what I was trying to do for Voyagers, and blend the two, and also maybe like take on the actual properties or rights of V or Vendetta, in order to kind of branch off on that. So that would be very interesting to do, like make a comic and then actually talk to Alan Moore in whatever respect, to go ahead and actually bring the character to life once again. Because I'm super serious. I think V is such a great character, and no one's ever really touched him aside from the movie. So it's kind of like a what the fuck kind of moment. Like you take one of the better villains or anti-heroes, kind of like Batman or whatever, and you just kind of like leave him to just rot, which is unfortunate. So I do plan to do that. I plan to make a actual series or a manga series of League. I'm already thinking about the stories and stuff like that, because the thing is, when I watched Arcane, so that is something that just happened. I don't know if I explained it too. I watched Arcane and I loved the animation. I loved the series. I loved everything about it. The problem lies in that the stories and lore and everything that was essentially shown with the games and stuff like that was not reciprocated in such a manner, a respectful manner with the series that it kind of broke a lot of the lore in the game and a lot of the what the fans wanted, they did not get. They didn't get that. And it actually kind of like spat on some stuff, some aspects. So although the universe that Arcane supposedly holds, I don't think should be canon. One, it should be its own thing. But two, it broke so much stuff that it's really hard to kind of put those pieces back together into where it needs to be in such a format where it's like, okay, the lore can be compacted into this universe, if that makes sense. So it was a very like weird way to tell a story, although beautiful. Like it broke a lot of things in the canon lore for this small section of story. And I think that's what I have a problem with. The fact that they basically took this small story and said, okay, this small story is going to drive the entire universe. It's like, wait, you need something you need something else to drive the entire universe. You don't just start at the very top and then just try to like build on top of that. So I don't like how they built upon the universe and instead, like I've always said, I want to go ahead and make the next like iteration of the universe because somebody is just not doing it where it needs to be, right? And so with that, I'm going to start making manga or web comics, something like that. So either comics or web comics, depending on the style. And I'm going to just start making a story in such a structure where it can happen, where you can go seamlessly between one area of Runeterra to the other, and it builds upon itself until you get to a certain arc, and then you get to a next arc, and then you get to this. Like there needs to be a building structure so that way it actually flows together. The reason that Arcane, and this is my thing, the reason that Arcane is only 2 seasons is because they could not build upon that structure. If they did, they would have already had more layering down. And they wouldn't have had, if you take out the 2 characters that aren't even league characters, well now Mbessa is, but if you take out the characters that aren't really league characters, you don't really have much of you don't have a lot of content there, right? They should have just focused mainly on the league characters, but it is what it is. My main thing is that like there's so much that you can build upon in the story that that they didn't do that I really hope that they did. And so with that, yeah, I'm going to basically make League animation great again. And then lastly, PAWS is in development. So I've been working more and more on the story over the last 2 weeks, since I left AT&T. So I've noticed that my creativeness has kind of gotten back. It's been way better. And so, yeah, PAWS is still in development, but it's getting closer and closer to being finalized as far as the outline and as far as the actual concept of a story, knowing where things are going to go before going to like actual like figuring out what the panels are going to look like and stuff like that. So yeah, so it's going to be interesting and I really can't wait, and I'll leave it at that. So I will talk to everyone probably after Christmas. Peace. Now how do I turn this shit off?
There will always be people that tell you you can't do it, that you aren't worth it, that you'll never become what you say you will. And in some sense, they're right. But here's what I've learned. You mold the world into whatever you want it to be. If you want to be the kind of person that people look up to, you do the work. You build that version of yourself. Don't wait for anyone to hand you the keys, because no one's coming. They're right if you let them be right. So prove them wrong. Prove them all wrong. These vlogs are a blueprint, a man on a journey to show the world that one shift in mindset can change the life he lives. And if you're still here, watching me grow, you already know how this ends. So thanks for watching. If you could, just leave a like, a comment, or even a share. It keeps me going. And I'll see you guys next time in the archives of a Shiba Millionaire.